So now we are going to create one model. So it's going to be called comments. Now a comment belongs to a lesson and to a user. So a user will be able to add multiple comments to a lesson for any additions or clarifications on the lesson content. So we're going to run the migration, Rails generate migration, create comments, user references, lesson references, content text. Okay, we're running the migration and let's see how it will look. So we'll go to our DB, migrate, and here we see the create comments. So user, lesson, and content. Okay, let's run the migration, DB migrate. And let's go to our comment model. So we go to models, and there wasn't a comment model created because we just ran the migration. So we'll create a model, comment.rb. Now we are going to also make it an application record model. Is going to be called comment. And now a comment belongs to user and belongs to lesson. Okay. As well, it has one field, it is content. Okay. Now we should also tell that the user and lesson has many comments. So we go to user.rb and has many comments dependent nullify. For user and for lesson. So has many comments. Okay. Now we want our comments to be visible and to be created only inside our lessons. So we're going to our config, roots, and it is going to be a nested resource. So it's going to be nested under lessons. So we have resources lessons under courses, and here we're going to have resources, comments. Okay. Next, we're going to our lessons controller. And we're going to display and create comments only inside the lesson show view. So we'll have at comment equals comment.new. And we are going to have comments are at lesson.comments. Okay. So let's create these views. We'll go to views. Inside of lessons, we are going to create one more folder. It's going to be called comments. And here we're going to have a comment, HTML HAML. So this will be for viewing one single comment, and we're going to have a form. Okay, so in the form, we're going to create a simple form. It will be simple form for at comment. Let's see how we create simple forms. So simple for comment. We're going to have it at lesson comment or just comment. Let's try both. So for comment, do F. Okay. And here we're going to have a couple of fields, so it will be f.input. Actually, we're going to input only the content. Input content, and we're going to have a submit button. So f button submit. Now let's see. It's yeah, and we'll also add these error notification messages. Okay, here is a small form. Now we can already actually start our server. Open a lesson and see if we can display anything. And yes, we'll go to lessons show, and somewhere on the bottom we will create comments. So comments, and we will render the form. Render comment lessons slash comments slash form. So this will be new comment, and this will be all comments. Now we don't render all comments yet. Let's see what we have. Okay, we are going to our, okay, so we're quitting our roots and going back to the application. Let's go to teach, my courses, this course. Let's select any lesson and open it. And here we have an error. There is no comments path. So that's why we need to have actually a simple form for add lesson, add comment. So let's add it here. Simple form for add lesson, add comment. Okay, let's see if it works. No, it still doesn't work because there is no lessons comments path. There is course lessons comments path. So we are having course lesson comment. This is really deeply nested. And we have a form to add a comment. Now we'll work a bit on this field. So we're going to make it a rich text field. Actually, no, we are not. We're just going to validate its presence. So we're going to validate content, presence, true. Now when we refresh, okay, unknown key presence. Maybe I misspelled it somehow. Let's see. So validates presence. We'll just copy the word from here. Validates. Okay, it must be validates, not validate. Okay, so the content has to be present. Now we try pressing submit, and it tells that there is no comments controller. So we should maybe create a comments controller. We're going to our controllers and going to create a comments controller .rb, and we are going to copy the header. So it's going to be an application controller. Now comments controller and not courses, but comments. Okay, now we have a comments controller. And here we are going to create the actions like create and like view all of them if we want. So we've created the comments controller. Let's go back, refresh, and press submit once again. So there is no action create. We need to create a create action. So def create, and we've created a create action. Let's go back, refresh, and see what the error will be. So there is no error because we are submitting the create action, but just nothing happens because there is nothing set in the create action. So let's see how we will create anything else. Let's go to lessons controller and benchmark from it. So here we have our lessons controller, and here we have our comments controller. Let's look at the create action. So here we set the lesson, set the course. We can also do it here if we want, but not right now. So we'll have something like if lesson save, else render new. Let's copy it. And we're not going to use these different formats. We'll only try the format HTML. So redirect to or render new. Actually, let's try it like this. So we go back, refresh, and press create. So if there is no method save, actually we must have add comment save, direct to course lesson path, add course, add lesson. So we should have a course and a lesson set. So we're going to set the course and set the lesson. We're going to do it right here. So the course will be course friendly find params course ID and lesson params lesson ID. Okay, let's go back. So to lessons, refresh, and try to create a comment. Now there is no such thing as comment save. That's because we need to set add comment. So the same we do in the create action for lesson, we're going to have add comment equals comment dot new comment params. And we're going to also set our comment params. So we're going to create a private method, going back to our comments controller. And here we're going to have comment params. We're going to remove everything that we are not using. So comment params require comment and permit content only. Okay, we set a comment, a course, and a lesson. Let's try now. Now template new is missing because we actually managed to pass the first if statement, if comment save, but we have the error on the new action. Now let's go back, refresh, and try once again. So create, and we get the missing template for new. This is because we are trying to submit a comment without any content. Now let's try submitting with some content. And once again, it tells us the new is missing. So we should add it. So we're going to the controller, and actually we're not going to create a new action. If comment say we're going to redirect to this path with the notice that the lesson was successfully created, the comment was successfully created. Otherwise, we're going to have an alert that something is missing. Let's try it this way. So we refresh, create, and we see that something is missing. We try once again, something missing. Okay. Now let's just pause here, and we are going to create a view for all the comments inside the lesson. So we've already created an empty view for a comment, and here we're going to display it. So it's going to be a card. It's going to be a card footer, or actually a card body. And here we're going to have the comment. So comment dot content and comment created at. Like this. And we are going to display it in our lessons show. So we are going to have something like add comments, each do comment, and we are going to render lessons, comments, comment. Let's see if this works. So there should be something. Let's try once again. We'll just add something additional, and no, it's not being rendered. It's not been rendered, most likely because there actually are no comments. So we can also test that. So we'll go to our lessons view. Here's our lesson show, and we're going to count the comments. So equals add comments dot count. Let's see. And it says that we have no comments. Now, where do we have these add comments from? If we remember, in the lessons show, we said that the comments are the comments that belong to this lesson. Now we can check if any comments were created at all. We'll go again to the show view, and we're going to create comment dot count. So I wrote it not correctly, comment. And we see that there are no comments in the application at all. Okay, so basically here we'll have a view to display the comments that were already created, and on the bottom we're going to have a view to create a new comment. Now, going back to the form to create a new comment. So whenever we press submit, it always tells us that something is missing. Let's see if we are passing everything incorrectly. So we have the comment, the course, and the lesson. Let's go to our form. We'll switch everything that we're not using at the moment off. So we don't need user, we don't need roots, we don't need lesson. Now we'll see if we are passing the course and the lesson in. So add course, add lesson, and we'll see if we actually have a course and the lesson. So we have the course here, we have the lesson here, so we are passing them in correctly. Now we are actually also going to pass them in our create action, the same way we did with the lessons. So in lesson create, we had the lesson course set, and we are also going to have the lesson course and so both the course and both the lesson set here. So on create, at lesson, so it's going to be at course dot at comment, sorry, dot course id equals at course dot id, and at comment dot, no, actually we are not passing in the course id for the comment, so only the lesson id course. So comment lesson id equals at lesson dot id. Okay, and now we'll switch the validation of content off. So we'll try to create a comment with using only the lesson ID. We're going to comment RB. We're not going to validate the content. We'll refresh and press create. And again, something is missing. Let's see. So possibly to understand what exactly is missing, we're going to go the long path and we're going to copy the whole saving action together with all the formats. So we take the respond to do format, comment save, then redirect to course lesson path at course at lesson. If it is saved, notice comment was successfully created. So the top stays the same, render show created location lesson. That's kind of fine. Now we made some kind of grammar mistake here. Yes, because it has to be redirect to, like this, render show, otherwise render new JSON at comment errors. Okay, let's try now. We refresh, we create a comment, and it says that there is no view. So we're getting this redirect multiple times error because we actually didn't comment out the previous save method. So we are going to refresh once again, and we see that template new is missing. Now we're going to create a new template. So we'll go to comments and have new.html.humble. Let's see if anything changes. Still the template is missing. So we're going to try to render not just new, but you see that it's going to comments new. We're going to render lessons slash comments slash new. Let's try now. And we have a new action rendered. Now, what do we want to have in our new action? So let's just go to comments and see. We have just the form and some styling. So in the new, we're just going to have render form. Render lessons slash comments slash form. Now unknown action index, there actually shouldn't be an action index. We'll go back to our roots and going to add accept index for our comments. Okay, that's more correct. So we're going back to lessons new and trying to create a comment. And we go to please review the errors below. Now, what errors can we have? We can have an error with the content, with the user, and with the lesson ID. So let's go to our form, and we are going to add these two fields. So input user and input lesson. Let's try once again. and it tells us that a user must exist. So we're going to pass in the current user. We go to comments controller. We have comment lesson ID equals lesson.id, and we're going to pass in the current user the same way we did for creating a new course. So we'll go to courses controller. Here is our courses controller. We go to the create action, and we said course user equals current user. We're going to do it for the same way for lessons. So, or actually, sorry, for comments. So add comment user equals current user. Let's try once again. Okay. Unknown variable comment dot content. So we are already actually trying to view the lesson show. Nice. So we can try creating a variable at comment if we want. Now let's go to our lessons show right here, and here we're trying to render our comments, and it tells us that there is an error. Let's just see the path is correct, and we have the problem in the comment section. Let's go to our comment. So here it tells us that we are not passing in the add comment. Now for it to work, we're going back and we're going to say that add comment is comment. Let's try once again, and it says no created at. Strange. Actually, not so strange, because when creating the migration, we could have not added the created at. So if we go to the courses migration, for example, we also create the timestamps, and here we did not create the timestamps. It's kind of a mistake. So we're going back, and we're not going to display the created at for now. And we see that there is one comment. Now there is no content inside the comment. And we see that we have a form where we can pass the user, the lesson. We shouldn't be able to pass the user and the lesson. So we're going back to the form. We're going to hide the user and the lesson fields, and going to make the presence of the content mandatory. So we're going back to our comment.rb, and we're going to validate the presence of the content. Okay, let's try creating an empty comment, and it says that it has to be present. We create, and now we have two comments. So we can also display the user ID, for example, of the comment creator. We'll have a card footer, and we'll have the comment.user. And we see who created this comment. Now we'll go back to our show action, and we're going to have some space between the comments, so we can actually add the comments. It works. But now we definitely need to add the timestamps of created and updated at. So we are going to go back to our console, run rake db rollback. Let's see what it does. Basically, it must revert the last migration. So it reverted the migration of creating comments, and we are going to add a timestamps field like this. Now we run rake db migrate, and we start the server. So let's go to our schema and go to comments, and we see that we have a created at and updated at field. So it worked. Now we have our server running. We will refresh, and of course we have no comments because all of them were destroyed during the rollback of the migration. Now let's try creating a comment. And it worked. We managed to create a comment. Okay, now what do we want to do? We want to display the created at of the comment. So comment user and comment created at. Okay, so it worked. And if we want to create a comment and it doesn't pass the validation, then we get a view that there was an error and that something has to be done. And from this view, we'll also go have a back button to go back to view our lesson. So we're going to our, now where are our views? So our new action, and here we'll have a link to course lesson path at course at lesson. Let's see. We'll try once again. So we have an error and this path doesn't work. So to make it work, it's going to be needing a name. So back to lesson, comma. Let's try now. We go back, press create comment. We have a link back to lesson, and it works. So that's it for this lesson. We managed to create a new table of comments, and we can nest comments inside of our lessons. And each lesson will display only the comments for it.